You're
Maybe
only a
if
professional if you pay yourself.
Maybe if this podcast makes millions of dollars, you can afford one.
Yes.
Well,
or if
here
only
we are, we're
only
back
if
after
okay.
Yes. Go on.
I was gonna say if only one
Oh,
of
no.
us knew like a professional sound guy or someone in that area. If only.
Yeah, who's willing to work for free for someone for
Well, you know,
absolutely no reason.
the
Yeah,
exchange rate, you know,
what
money
a good
goes
use of his
far.
time. Yeah.
Why assume
Yeah.
that he wouldn't get paid?
Because you don't have enough money to afford him? He gets paid 500 a day?
Oh yeah,
Do
but
you
this
have
would
500 a day to pay?
I have 50 for an hour, maybe.
For an hour.
Yeah, just explain how
I
to
guess
balance the audio levels.
Okay, fine, I'll ask you.
Might even take 5 minutes.
Cut this part.
But who are you referring to?
Don't fucking worry about it.
My father.
Okay.
My farter.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
You blew up his spot.
We are back after a hiatus. And we're talking about the album Pornography, not the other kind of pornography. No one's
Things that
ever
can't be
made this
mentioned.
Yes, not the single.
ever again. Not the single. Yeah. It wasn't a single, but could have been. the final piece in the trilogy, the famous goth trilogy that made The Cure's name in the UK anyway. No one heard any of these songs in America still, but here we are. This is the end. This is the bottom. This is it.
At the bottom of the barrel?
Well, pretty much for everyone involved, honestly. Well, it was for Robert Smith anyway. How to preface this? This is a tricky album to talk about. If we're continuing where we left off with Faith, Faith was not very well received. Didn't do numbers. None of the singles caught on, and that hurts when people do that. When people make something and yeah, that's the
tell
response.
me about it.
Don't we know that?
Yeah, critics at this time, I don't want it to seem, it always seems like retroactive being like, oh man, I don't want to imply that The Cure is like this misunderstood, like they should have been getting all this amazing praise. No, that's not true, but neither should they have been so unfairly kind of criticized due to the time that they were coming out and the kind of the setting in which they were coming out. England in the early 80s was not very good ground to be doing the kind of music they were doing. They were at the wrong place, the wrong time. And so, they got pigeonholed a lot, and critics were preoccupied with other stuff and kind of writ them off as just these kind of like posy, it's all about looks with them. Robert Smith was a good-looking guy, so was Simon Gallup, the bassist. They had the hair sticky uppy. They had wear makeup and stuff, and they were just regarded as like a nothing, all-image kind of thing. Something that haunted them, especially because of how shakily they started with Three Imaginary Boys. And even though Robert Smith thinks he's broken away from that and he's making good music, which he was, that's not how it looked. And now he was turning 23 almost. That's when Ian Curtis killed himself. And they were always being compared to Joy Division, to Pink Floyd in that kind of way, for being kind of experimental and out there and weird. And people were like, well, he's the next one. He's gonna, he's got a bit of a following. He's probably gonna kill himself. It's all going off the rails. His alcoholism, his drug abuse, it was all getting kind of nuts. Relationships were breaking down. Everything was hitting dead end. And he was, and that's what you hear on Pornography. is fucking just rage, frustration, pure unfiltered anger, and his whole idea the whole way through is I'm done. This is it. I'm not going to kill myself, but I'm not doing this anymore. This is the end of the cure. Fuck this shit. And big middle finger to everyone listening. I'm going to make the most fucking wretched, evil, fucking dissonant a musical thing I can fucking come up with, and then I'm going to say band's over. Bye. See you. That's the idea of this album. This is the end.
That's exactly how it happened.
And that's what it sounds like. So what did you think, Green, listening to this album?
I feel like on average, the albums are steadily getting better. A minor point. No. Got to bring up my notes. A minor point. I liked how there were 8 tracks on this. That seems like a nice round number, and it was easy to keep track of. What?
Yeah, Faith had 8 tracks too.
Yeah, exactly. That's the perfect number of tracks for an album.
So far, Smith's Cure albums have been pretty formulaic. Like 17 Seconds kind of has 8 tracks, really, when you ignore the instrumental things. And they always open with a strong song. They end with the title track. There's kind of a thing going. But yeah, what did you think about it? I mean, like, what are your thoughts on it as a piece, as a work? Like, what is it? How do you feel about this? Because it's an odd thing. It's not just like some album you put on, just to listen to some tunes. Exactly. It's a bit of a statement as a piece. What is your thoughts on Pornography as an album, like overall?
I did notice as it was going along, it did seem like there was kind of a like quasi-religious like theme running through it. I did kind of wonder what was going on there. I didn't really know
that a lot about the last one, especially.
Yes,
because it was called Faith. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really understand the context. It did seem kind of bitter a little bit, and like a little sad. A lot of the lyrics seem like they're kind of annoyed at someone.
A little bit.
I mean, it's average for Green.
It seems a teeny little bit bitter.
Green's average life is
this caterwaul of fucking pain and outrage. You know what? I think this Robert Smith guy, he might be a little bit miffed off. He seems a bit annoyed on some of these tracks where he's wailing about, blood and death and constant, just fucking. It's just like a fucking primal scream of anger. Yeah. I think you're right there. I think you're right.
It seemed like he definitely was having like a below average day when he was singing this.
He probably couldn't find his socks when he woke up in the morning, spilt the coffee, and he was like, "That's it. It's time to do pornography."
Me spilling my coffee sounded like the sound of a dying tiger, or however that goes.
A tiger, sound like a tiger thrashing in the water.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
What do you think about Pornography as a concept, Jaws? What do you think about this album before we get into the track specifics?
As a concept, I mean, I totally get the idea of wanting to do something and actually doing it.
We've all been there, right?
Yes, I mean, at least mentally, we've not all made an album. Yeah, we have not all made an album, so we cannot say that.
Well, no, but I've done pieces of. I've made art under the same kind of. You let that cloud come over you, and you just fucking rage. Yeah,
rage against the machine.
That's what it is.
Yeah. The obvious side effect of that is that it does not create an album that is very fun to listen to. At least some of the songs are. I mean,
keeping up with the understatements. This isn't very fun.
It's sort of like a contradiction in terms of, this is something that people well, some people will buy, but having an album that is not very fun to listen to will obviously impact that negatively. So it's interesting to have it still be such a important and well-known thing. Yeah, but yeah, it has like with most of the Cure albums, it's the same for me, where there's some tracks on it where I just say, okay, yeah, I've listened to these once and I don't have the I don't feel the need to listen to those particular songs again.
I will say, I think this is the first Cure album thus far where I don't think there's a song I like dislike.
Really?
Like I like all the songs in it. There are a few that I'm less interested in, but there are none where I'm like, skip. Like Faith had Doubt. 17 Seconds had, 3 and Even at Night a bit where I'm kind of rolling my eyes a bit. And obviously 3 Imaginary Boys was full of stuff I don't go back to, but the tracks I least like in Pornography, I still like. I still enjoy listening to them. They're just not as exciting to me as my favorite tracks on the song. This is my favorite for the viewers. My favorite of the trilogy, and this is like by the end of this when we do our favorite Cure albums. I mean, this is in my top 5 for sure. Of their entire discography. This is one of the stronger Cure albums, in my opinion. And it fixes kind of a lot of problems I had with Faith, which is still a fine album.
On average for me, that there are like 3 songs per album usually that I don't like to listen to. I think Faith is like an outlier where pretty much every song is fine, where I don't have the problem with it, but with the other ones.
You kind of have that idea. What I have for Pornography, you have more with Faith. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, let's get into this album. It's fun to talk about. It's exciting to talk about because this is a very unique album.
This is a Rorschach test.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is a fucking litmus test for like people who want to listen to music to start with. You take someone who's listened to pop music, or even someone who had just listened to like the singles from The Cure at this point and kind of like them. They were like, oh, I like Boys Don't Cry and Killing an Arab, and maybe I even like Charlotte sometimes. And you play Pornography for them, it's like and keep in mind, this has been like, maybe depending on the month it came out, it may not have been fully 3 years since 3 Imaginary Boys, and look how different things have gotten, from 3 Imaginary Boys to 17 Seconds to Faith to Pornography. It like you wouldn't be like, no one could blame you for not thinking it's even the same guy. He doesn't sing the same. They don't sound anything like. Trying to think of like Meat Hook and Grinding Halt up against The Strange Day and Figurehead. It's like, everything around this album is interesting. They broke with their usual producer and they went with this guy Phil Thornalley, who had mastered a few records they were into at this time. Even the title obviously is quite eye-catching. The record label didn't want to release it with that title initially, but they managed to convince them somehow. It's been described in various ways, but supposedly the idea is like it's the pornography of society. It's like it's like showing a mirror to people and be like, this is pornography. The way everyone acts and behaves it's all fucked. It's not really about porn.
Did they keep the same producer afterwards? Like, did they?
No, they switched. First one was their manager, doesn't even count. Then last 2 were Mike Hedges. This is Phil Thornalley, and then the rest are Dave Allen from all the way from The Top till Wish for a long time. Like, Dave Allen produced all their most well-known stuff. He hasn't come in yet.
Okay, I was just wondering if this guy was...
why this album has such... When I said it's, like, unique, I mean that, like, it gets boring to say that, like, about every album, like, oh, it's unique. No, but it's like, okay, 17 Seconds sounds, like, kind of unique, but it's, like, in a very like subtle way. Like this album, really, there is nothing that sounds like this. Like you can look, you can you can scour the internet, try finding an album that sounds like Pornography, either from standpoints of just the production being so weird, and also from just being like painful to listen to the way this album can be, especially if you're wearing big headphones. Or have some big speakers. Yeah, like this really stands out as a very. I feel like lots of people should listen to this album just to know that this happened, because it's such a weird thing. Yeah, to just bring up, be like, this album. Yeah, this album is, well, yeah, but in a weird way. Like it's not. This album manages to be so much raw and like scarier than a lot of music which is trying to be that way. They'd be like, oh, here's some black metal or some stuff. It's like that shit is it is like aggressive, but it isn't like trying to kill you like this album is sometimes. Like this album wants to hurt you. It's trying to be painful in a way which most music doesn't want to. It does. It wants to hurt your ears and your feelings and then it wants to hurt you. It wants to hurt you as a fan and as a critic who has to listen to this, because they were on a major label. So if you're a critic who writes for a magazine, you're going to have to listen to this because the new Cure album, and you're going to go, ow, this hurts, Robert Smith. Why are you doing this to me?
I will confirm there were a few points that were kind of physically painful.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
There's a part that blares in your ears, which I did not care for.
That's yeah. So
why do I live somewhere where the sound hurts my ears?
Well, why don't we get into this with my favorite track, the opening track?
No.
100 years of blood, crimson. Yeah, this what a way to open your fucking album. I mean, right away, I love the fucking drum machine on this, the click track with the snaps and the knocks, the like hollow. Man, I just fucking pour that shit into me. This song is just Devilman, the manga distilled into a I was gonna call it a pop song, but
no,
that's too nice for what 100 years is. Just gets it across perfectly. These yawning dissonant fucking guitars.
I mean,
like
yes.
the way that they play with the space, and they kind of like they feel like they're stretching your fucking ears like across the canvas of the song. It's just like coming in from right to left, and it's like fucking bats are flying around you trying to fucking claw your head off. And add to that, like, just some of my favorite lyrics in the Cure's catalog the whole way through. Like, all of the lines in this are so fucking great. Fucking open my mouth and my head bursts open. Soldiers under yellow moon. Yeah.
I mean, it certainly sets the tone for this album, and is a very good encapsulation what the entire
pitch
album
black midnight. You're being fucking. It's not even like the last album was like ghosts and stuff like that. This is like it's like different kind of horror. It's like people's faces fucking distorted and in an insane asylum.
I mean, it has like a lot of sort of war. Well, not a lot, but some war imagery. I think this album was written during the Falkland War. Like there's some lyrics in this song, like the Patriots are shot on TV or something, fighting for freedom or whatever. And that made me look up when this was written and when the Falkland War was, and it seemed to have happened during the time the album was written.
Well, I mean, true as that may be, I've never heard it referenced like that. Robert doesn't tend to talk about real events until much later in discography when shit turns bad.
I disagree.
So
I think the shadow of Margaret Thatcher
on his mind, but
is hanging heavily over this album in every moment.
Oh. Well, I don't even disagree with that technically, but what I mean is he wouldn't reference it directly in the lyrics. I mean, he's always been allowed Republican, which in England just means you're anti-royalist. He's always been kind of for the working class in that way. But this is more about just evoking nightmarish imagery this is a fucking Goya painting come to
Yeah.
life. I mean, it opens with "It doesn't matter if we all die." That's it. That's how you open the album. That's the song, and it just fucking burns everything down. I love this song so much, and it's when they kept playing it live for like there's a live version of this in the 90s on the Wish tour where the fucking they're like instead of the drum machine they fucking Boris Williams is fucking blasting that shit. Just all the way through that drum loop. It's amazing. Yeah, I love this track, obviously. What does Green think of it?
I did like the drums, and I noticed the drums seemed more prominent in this album than most of the previous ones. And that's one thing that
this is a drum machine, to be clear.
That's one thing
Lil
that
Tolhurst is not playing because he can't play like that.
yeah, that's one thing that kind of threw me. Is like a while ago there was a problem with the bassist, then there was an album where the bass was really noticeable, and then they don't have a drummer, but then the drums are very noticeable in this one.
To be clear, Lol is still on the album playing some parts of the drums, but then they're also kind of including drum machines, and this is the last time he'll be drummer. On this album already, he started kind of moving toward keyboards a bit. Some of the synth lines are him, and from here on out, they get, not to be unkind, but a proper drummer for the next. The next album has Andy Anderson for that album and for a tour, who was a great drummer, and then after that, they have the very famous Boris Williams, who is their like signature drummer, who is one of the best like rock drummers ever. The drum sounds in this are great, and they're very strange, and they're very catchy. Stay in your head. Yeah. Well, I know Jaws, and I have disagreements on this track. So, Jaws will.
Was Green
Jaws will now
finished?
say a bunch. I think so. I don't think he has a lot to say.
I don't have a lot to say. I also just I really noticed the whales, and then the whales got more prominent later, where they were blasting my ears.
The end of the track, the guitars are go into this like high pitched squeal, where they all like sort of that's part of the fun. It's like it's kind of been bubbling under the surface for the whole track, is like the guitars already have already been these fucking like banshee calls, and then by the end of the track they're just fucking squealing, just like trying to drill into your ears.
I couldn't even tell that that's a guitar. Like I was wondering
the effects on it are so exactly. It sounds like a fucking, I mean, one reviewer described this album as Phil Spector screaming in hell. Phil Spector, the producer of.
Isn't he the crossbow guy?
He is.
Crossbow guy.
I'm stuck in hell.
Yeah, Phil Spector has crazy hair, and I think he shot his wife with a crossbow.
Yeah, he did. Well, Spector was worked with the Beatles. And then he was a famous producer for a long time, and then he's I think he's still in prison now for killing his wife.
Wait, is he the one who invented that wall of sound thing? Like the he is.
He is? Oh, well that explains a lot too. Okay. Well there you go. That's what they meant, especially by Phil Spector in hell. But what about you, Jaws? Why do
I hate good things?
Explain to me.
I mean, just going down my notes. Like the first thing I noticed down, obviously, was aggressive drumming, which I have no problem with. I like the aggressive drumming and faster drumming on tracks. I can't even tell if there's a bass in the song. I don't think there is.
Oh yeah. If there is, it's like either it's on the whole time or none of the time, because it would tend to be. I mean, there's so much stuff going on over it. It would be impossible to tell. I'm sure there must be, but
just more general.
There must be something very simple, it's like do or something like that going on.
I can't. I probably can't. Like I didn't.
I mean, your attention is distracted in this track by like anything. It's like you're. Exactly. When you're like, your mind is like tries to latch onto something like comforting kind of in a song and be like, oh, the guitar's scary. I'm gonna like focus in on the lyrics. Oh no, they're scary. Oh, the drums are just this unforgiving weird click thing that's fucking. I don't even know how to describe. Where do I go? Yeah.
Just more general notes, like vocals are obviously also more aggressive, lyrics are more violent and aggressive as well. Like, I mean, the entire song is, and that's the point. What I don't like about this, for one, it's fairly repetitive. Like, it stays pretty much the same throughout the whole runtime. You have like a few sections where you have just a guitar wailing, but other than that, there's like no difference. Like, it never really changes. I also think it's a bit too long. And the real problem though is that it's just unpleasant to listen to. Like, in terms, like, this is one of the songs that sort of hurts my ears. I think it's not the one that's the most, like, I think Cold, like the weird droning thing, and Cold is even more unpleasant than this one. But yeah, I just don't particularly like it.
I mean, unpleasant is a good term. I mean, you're probably having the normal reaction. I just don't expect that from you. Like that's what I expect my like most people I would show the song to say. You know, if I played it to John, he'd be like, "Ow, that hurts. Why did you do that?" Yeah, for me, this one really works, and is one I play all the time outside of the album, actually. But you know, you gotta open strong, and Cure opening tracks tend to be longer too. At nearly 7 minutes, I believe this one is. And then we kind of transition into. Again, it's hard to say, but in the context of Pornography, a short-term effect is kind of supposed to be the radio friendlier one of the songs. Like, it's shorter, it's got more of a 4/4 structure to it, and it isn't trying to kill you quite as hard as the 100 years did. If I think 100 years is like the barrier, like you're going into Dante's Inferno. It's like, if you manage to make it through 100 years, then they throw you a bone, you know, with a short-term effect. If you shut the record player off and snap your vinyl in half, then you don't get to hear the short-term effect. But yeah, very fun song. I have a hard time like thinking of a lot of stuff to say about the song. Really, it is, but I like it. It's kind of like Doubt, but done right for me. It's one of their. It's one of that kind of that family of songs. Those kind of like punchier ones, but it is using the palette of Pornography as more of like a decoration, as more of an accent, as being like this. The making it more Halloween-y, shall we say? But it works, and it's fittingly called the short-term effect because it's the shortest song. So yeah, I'm sure everyone thought, you know, I'm sure Green was thankful for this as a welcome respite, probably, Green, for you.
I really didn't like a short-term effect that much.
Really?
Because I just found it physically uncomfortable to listen to it.
Really?
It is very it's like echoey, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
it has
it's
echoes on the vocals and stuff.
Yeah, it's like but also it feels like the drum hits are like bouncing off the walls. Like, there's a lot of room reflections. It feels very open in that way, which is kind of odd to it.
Yeah, I just couldn't get past like the high pitch, echoey like sounds going on in the background. They just kind of, it's not even a bad song. I just found it kind of distracting and frustrating.
That's perfectly fair. I don't. It's not one I ride or die for. I think it's cute. To me, it's like the little brother of A Strange Day, kind of. A Strange Day being like the like, that should have been the single. That's like the thing here that is like closest to being catchy, in a way, because it has that guitar lead. It has like defined verses and a chorus to it. And short-term effect is like its little brother that is.
I think like Hanging Garden is very catchy.
Yeah, well, you're insane.
Yeah.
You're the first person
Why
to ever
else
say
would I
that.
be here?
Yeah, because that is always shown. Because I mean that in a kind way. Because I'm always like that's always like told to people as like a surprise. Like, did you know Hanging Garden was a fucking single? Like, yeah, the pummeling drum like dirge thing, yeah, that thing was the single. It's like, what? Like, most people would feel more comfortable with A Strange Day than Hanging Garden.
I guess that most
Yeah,
people would be more comfortable
but
with for sure.
winding back a bit, Jaws, what about short-term effect?
Yeah.
Do you
First,
have anything to
yeah,
add?
yeah. First note, just general faster drumming than on Faith in 17 Seconds, which is kind of what the album already established with 100 Years. I think the echo effects work. Like usually like in the beginning, like 17 seconds and stuff, I had like lots of problems with the effects that I used, and the Cure has gotten better with like Faith, and here
Oh yeah, for sure.
the effects just are better.
We're getting more used to this, and the different producer helped.
The bass is fine. I do like just the general way how Robert is singing here, which I think is better than it is on 100 Years. The lyrics are also okay. They're like not great, but they're okay. And I think this is like a decent song. I don't think it's like amazing, but yeah, it's perfectly decent.
Yeah, I like it fine.
How dare you?
And then
How dare I?
rolling into the Hanging Garden.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Hanging Garden. To me, it's funny because I can see why you like it, because it reminds me the most of Faith out of anything on this album. And it has that, this like pummeling vibration to it in a way.
Like, I really like the drums
You
on this
feel
one,
like
the militaristic drums.
if you turn this up, if you turn this up, you can imagine like everything like a kind of rumbling and vibrating and like an earthquake a bit. Like, it's a stampede. I like it. Obviously, the title goes some way toward evoking this, but I like its kind of old, like ancient civilization vibe it has to it. Talking about like animals. It seems like obvious.
I mean, the title, it's
Egyptian, Babylonian type of. Yeah,
although
but
apparently that had nothing to do with why they named the track that.
No, I'm sure, but I'm sure it's probably closer to hanging, like killing yourself, than it is to the actual Hanging Gardens. But what I mean is also because it's this drum like march and stuff like that. It kind of makes it seem like an old-fashioned like ceremonial chant kind of thing, because it doesn't employ a lot of modern techniques in it. Yeah. Jaws, I know you're a big fan of this song. Tell me all the things you like.
This is my favorite song on the album. As I said, I really like what? I really do like the military.
I said lucky you, because it's the single.
Okay. Like there's a fast bass in it, and I think it's somewhat buried under the drums, but I still like the bass. I also like the wailing guitar parts when they come on. It's a very energetic song, which I like.
Enjoy the. Yeah, but speaking of stuff being repetitive, it's funny that you don't find this one repetitive as you do 100 Years. Maybe because it's shorter, but this is like.
Maybe it's just something. I mean, this is repetitive, but in a good way.
The only thing that breaks it up is the fall, like which is cute. I like that.
I do like how he sings. I have this written down for almost all of the songs. Just I do like the way he sings on this song. Which
he has. Well, he has gotten. He is kind of. Yeah, he's definitely come into his own as a vocalist. He has he has his own distinct way of singing.
Yeah, and this song also has like
wail without it sounding like forced or out of place.
And this song sort of does like a somewhat similar thing to Charlotte sometimes, with a sort of background singing, which once again is him again. I really like the guitar solo and outro section. I like the lyrics, or at least they're decent. And I just generally like the song. I think this is like one of my favorite Cure songs.
Fine.
Oh.
I wouldn't go that far. I think it's a fine song. Again, I noticed the percussion. I actually got stuck at one point. That kind of like rocking low thing in the background. I couldn't tell if that was like some kind of percussion or bass, and I felt very silly.
I think that's intentional.
Okay. Yeah, but I liked it. This one was a little more chill, and I actually did appreciate that. It was a nice break after having my eardrum shattered in the previous one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I getcha.
Also had a music video in the playlist, which the others did not. And the singer guy looks silly.
The singer guy, his name's Robert Smith.
Well, I always mix him up with Robert Plant, and then it's a fucking conversation. So I just said the singer guy.
Yes. Well, I've been avoiding the music videos so far because they have, music videos in this time in history were not really very good. They're a bit embarrassing. Like they try out sometimes. One is like this, like really obvious dumb thing where it's like a silly actress going through an old abandoned sanitarium and she's like a ghost. Ugh. Like it's silly. I mean, I'm glad you're looking at Robert Smith though, because it's interesting to see what he looks like at various points. Because he was always like a pretty boy, and the looks have always been part. And around pornography, it's scary because this is when the makeup like he just starts not giving a shit, and he's like doing it on purpose. He looks like the fucking Joker. Like you see some photographs, he's like putting lipstick like around his eyes, like underneath them. Like underneath his eyelids, and he has like it all like smeared around his mouth so that it's not even just covering the lips. It's like this horrible, like it's like a fucking disturbed clown mask. Like he's just they kind of evoke that in the Lullaby video much later in Disintegration, where he has like the black eyeliner around his eyes is like all covering the whole top of his head. It's just like pitch black.
I haven't seen that.
So that's an interesting thing. Yeah, we'll watch it when the music videos get good. I'll put them all in the playlist. But anyways, continuing from here, Siamese Twins. Now this is I think it's my least favorite track on the album. But I still, like I said, I like all the tracks. This one though is like I have a hard time thinking of things to say about it. It is so sparse and quiet in a way. I mean, obviously it's still, how quiet can something on Pornography be? But what I mean is it doesn't have anything that jumps out to me much. I like the occasional
it's like the
Charlotte sometimes sounding kind of synth things that go on in it. I think this one feels longer to me than 100 Years, even though it's shorter. Because well, the fucking 100 Years is punching you in the head, and the drums are fucking jumping around. The fucking guitars are coming into
punching you in the head for 6 minutes.
Yeah, but I don't feel I can't. Yeah, but you lose track of time when you're being punched in the head for 6 minutes. That's the point. Yeah. If you're getting assaulted for 6 minutes, you don't go, "Oh, that lasted 6 minutes and 41 seconds." You go, "Oh, where the fuck am I?" Whereas in Siamese Twins, I'm like, kind of watching the thing go by, and I'm like, "Oh, this is fine. It's a fine transitional song. I don't hate it. I don't skip it." But it is. It to me, this is kind of the sluggiest one. Yeah. Green, were you gonna say something? I thought I heard you.
I don't think so, but I actually liked it well enough. I think it was in the middle or upper middle with songs I like. That's probably like my third favorite song.
Really?
I thought it was interesting how there was the contrast between like the more prominent sounds are like very low, and then there was these kind of like light, like tinny, like melodies going on in the background.
Yeah.
And it was hard to pick them out. That's a trick they pulled a few times, but I found it interesting that you have to kind of listen closely to actually hear the melody as all this other stuff is going on. That was pleasant. It was fun.
I think you're right. Yeah, there is some stuff going on era. I kind of
I
disregarded.
pretty much
Yeah.
agree with Green. I think this has like the slowest drumming on the album by far. I think the bass is a bit
Yeah.
boring. I once again I like just the way he sings. It fits well with the lyrics. I think the guitar is pretty boring, and the lyrics are decent, and I think they're probably the most coherent on the album so far. You can like sort of follow along with what's actually going on and what he's talking about. And yeah, it's just a general decent middling song, I would say. I have no real problems with this one.
Yeah.
It's just somewhere in the middle.
But then we come on to one of the most interesting, however. This is like my third favorite, probably.
Where do I have it? I have it
100 Years and
fourth.
Strange Day. The figurehead is great, and this is like the one you show to people when you're talking about like how aggressive this album can be. The fucking the bridge of this song, where it goes into these cacophonous dissonance, like the breakdown of it, where it's like that in the middle of it really throws you, because it's like I enjoy songs where the melody is, when the melody breaks down, so it's still recognizable as the same melody, but it's like it's fucked up, like it's not the same as changing the melody. It's not just that. It's like if it's like the melody got crippled or something, and now it's like off, or like the instruments got broken in half or detuned. Like it has this guitar riff that it keeps going back to, and then in the middle it kind of like loses the plot, and like it's like the record's scratched and it fucks up for a bit. Yeah, really fun song. I love this one. It's great, and it's kind of getting back to that 100 Years sound, but squishing it, and like it's almost as long actually, but that's the middle section.
I think it's like closer to Hanging Garden, like with the drumming specifically.
Oh,
yeah.
But the guitars, though, they're so fucking screeching and blaring.
Yeah, I still feel like it's closer to Hanging Garden.
That's just because you like it, and you like Hanging Garden, you see. Yeah.
Yes. Maybe.
Yeah. Green, I bet you thought the figurehead was scary, and it made you hide in the corner of the room.
Maybe a little bit. I did notice the lyrics were getting a little crazy in places.
Oh yeah.
It's like really vague and abstract on this one.
Yeah, it was kind of progressing the angry spiritual, I don't know, like dark religious vibes as it went along. Don't know if I have that much to say about the music. I think I more noticed the character and the vibe than anything actually going on with the instruments.
Okay. As I said, this has like once again this sort of militaristic drum sound, which I like. It has probably the most heavy bass out of any of the songs on the album. I like that. I like that bass, but it's too repetitive. Once again, I like the way he sings on this song. I do like all the wailing guitar parts and the guitar in general on this song. I'm not fond of the lyrics, really. They're too abstract and too vague for my taste. I also think the song is a bit too long. And yeah, this is a fine, decent song once again, but I think I like it less than Siamese Twins. Oh wait, did I rank it? Oh no, I like it a bit more than Siamese Twins. Okay, so I have it above it.
It's a little funny.
I think there's more going on here. I like the intertwining guitars a lot in this. The more I hear it, they're kind of like
the guitars are probably my favorite thing about it.
They're like, I don't know how to describe, but they feel like thorny almost. Like they're kind of like brambly, and they're kind of like creeping up through the song and kind of come to remind you. And yeah, there's that section in the middle where it like just I love that, where it just like all breaks down and turns into scribbles. And then it's followed by a Strange Day, which I absolutely love. I used to listen to this song like before I'd heard the album, like just it's just a fun. It's like as fun as this album can get, where it's like catchy. It's got that cool in the pocket vibe to it, and it's kind of like I don't know. It's got like some weird. It's like a vampire strutting around, kind of thing to it.
Not thought about it like that.
No, I don't know. What I mean is like it has more of a confident stride to it, and it isn't trying to assault your ear holes in the same way.
Yeah.
And I really love that breakaway where it goes quiet and then the guitar comes in.
Yeah,
I mean that's the highlight of the whole song is like when
the
this guitar comes in.
is
It's
what,
like a
what
hypnotic,
makes the entire song.
yeah, it's such a this hypnotic, like kind of like malicious riff, but in such a cool way. Yeah, I love this. I laugh as I drift in the wind. Yeah, this one, I'm sure everyone loves this one because it's so much fun. I'm sure Green does too, right, Green?
Yeah, it was pretty good. The one thing that I did like the kind of again like the percussion and stuff. It felt like they were doing some complicated things here, which I found that
that's what happens when you
interesting.
use a drum machine instead of a guy who can't drum.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he does drum on this one. I'm not even sure, but if he does, it's still in conjunction a bit with yeah.
Yeah. Felt like it felt like this and Figurehead were, both of them together, they're kind of like progressing the themes of the album like towards pornography.
That's just like my favorite.
It's like a ramp
section.
Yeah, they're going.
Oh yeah,
The thing that really stuck with me about this, it got stuck in my head, is kind of near the end. There's like a guitar lick that goes for a while, and I'm so sure I've heard someone else steal that, but I'm not sure where.
Yeah, like I also feel like that I've heard this before somewhere.
Dang, 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 dang.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I really like this song a lot. Yeah, this to me is speaking structurally. Yeah, when we get to, because to me it's like I love 100 Years, Short Term Sex is fun, and then Hanging Garden and Siamese Twins is like kind of dips for me, and then it ramps back up with Figurehead and Strange Day, and then Cold is gonna be the most controversial one because it's an odd.
I mean, I haven't.
I really. Sorry. Go on. Say your things about Strange Day.
Yeah. It has like a little bit of an unusual intro. I can't tell what instrument that really was. This is like it also the song also sounds like more upbeat than all the other songs, like happier. Once again, I don't know what the droning instrument in the background is, but I think
at the beginning, I think is like some it's synthesizer, but it's supposed to be like kind of like an organ, like tuning up or something. Maybe some violins. There is some cello in this album too, which is interesting. I mean, it's all.
I mean, yeah, cello comes with Cold.
But there's there's some like kind of orchestral hits being used occasionally, but like distorted, obviously, to keep it with the theming. The guitar is absolutely what carries the song. Like without the guitar, it's sort of boring, and with the guitar, it gets really good. Like the drumming and bass are sort of boring on its own. The bass is very buried. Vocals and singing are fine. Lyrics are okay too, and yeah, with the guitar parts, this is like a really good song that I like, which is like my second favorite song. Though, it's like you don't want if the drums and the bass were also really catchy and showy outfit, would that make the song better? Really, I think that would dilute it. Like, no, that seems like that turns into prog rock and shit like that.
Yeah,
like,
but that would be
trying to. Like,
that would be cool.
And they're all being like, "Oh, look at me, how cool I play!" No, prog rock is universally lame, and everyone knows this.
No,
it's a genre
for
honestly,
smoking prog rock is lame.
Yeah, it's lame. Like it, as in uncool. I'm not saying I don't enjoy any prog music, but it's like an embarrassing exercise in making like I'm gonna make a concept album about gods. Ooh, like you're 38, man. What are you doing?
Like a concept album about gods. Tell me more.
Well, yeah, sounds amazing.
Prog rock is embarrassing.
What
if you're a child.
That's like the strangest music take I've heard so far. I thought you enjoyed prog rock. Like you like Tool.
Are you listening to what I'm saying?
No. I think you said he is a Tool. You're missing.
I'm saying it's lame and embarrassing. Like it is not it's not really a mature genre. Like people make fun of prog rock all the time. That's what led to the fucking punk music happening. Like we're talking about you're comparing like, I don't know what a good analogy would be, but the whole point of prog rock is that it's overdone and like cheesy. Like that's the idea. Like prog rock can never be cool, because
That
to be
makes no
cool is to be
sense to
honest
me.
about yourself, and prog rock is artificial. It's like it's like a, you know, it's the same as like making narratives in your lyrics and making a song, a concept
Yeah,
album,
that's
dude called
that's
Dave or
awesome.
Journey. Yeah, that's the kind of thing someone who would like was a writer or something would think is
Yes.
cool about music, for example. Yeah, which is like not the point of music, because music is a visceral art form, and what matters about it is the sounds of it.
All
It's
parts
like
matter.
poetry. Yeah, sure, but music isn't constrained to narrative artifices. There is no need for it
No,
to
it's
be
not
that. The same as
constrained,
with
but
painting.
I like if I have
A painting isn't better because it's telling us because it's like a series of pictures telling a story. Like abstract art is
it would make it
is
better,
as
in
well.
my opinion.
Yeah, I think Jaws has a
Yeah,
point
because that's
here.
your taste. But I'm talking about, yeah, it's all, yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
This prog rock
But,
sounds pretty good. Perhaps I should
yeah.
get into it.
I mean, you do like musicals, which are also lame, so that would make sense. All these narrative-driven forms of music, very fun.
Just one question.
If you don't like music,
Don't you think that, like, if you have like all the good parts about music, like everything, and then even add narrative to it, does that not make it even better?
Oh, not at all. That
Okay.
distracts you from what you should be paying attention to. I don't think T.S. Eliot is improved by turning out it was a story about some dude who went to town and did something. Like, you're trying to be evocative and artistic has nothing to do with storytelling.
Yeah, but then they
They're
took
two
his
separate skills.
But then they took Old Possum's Book of
plenty
Practical
stories
Cats
aren't art.
and they made T.S. Eliot into Cats the musical, which is great.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Josh,
exactly.
did
Which
you
is
not
better
know that?
which is better than T.S. Eliot, of course.
Yeah,
right.
Cats the musical is most of the lyrics are taken from T.S. Eliot's poems.
Holy shit, I did not
I
know
know.
that.
I was
Okay,
surprised
that's
when I learned that
really
too.
weird.
That's why I started getting interested in cats.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense
yeah.
why you're suddenly interested in cats.
Yeah,
Okay.
he had like it was like a god kid or something. He had like some younger relatives, and he wrote Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats for them, like as a gift or like a devotional thing. And then later, after he died, some genius had the idea, what if we had a bunch of like sexy spandex cat people dancing the T.S. Eliot poems? And he was fucking dead, so his wife just said, sure, whatever, and then they made cats.
That is so fucking weird.
It is weird.
So human.
It's the weirdest thing ever.
Thing is, just to wrap up, like the issue with that kind of music is just that it is like, by nature, it is being pretentious. Like you're trying to do something with pretense to it.
Yeah, but I think that makes way more, or rather has more value than not doing that, to me at least.
Well, it kind of is taking away the focus from music, is the thing.
No.
Like it is. It's putting the focus on stuff which is extra to the music. The narrative that is going on top of a song, the idea that is happening that was the thing behind the song. These are all extracurricular things to the music.
Me, they're like one and the same.
No, that's why instrumental music is good or even better than stuff with lyrics. Like you.
Yeah, but you can even tell a story with just instrumental music.
But why would you?
Because
it doesn't speak. It doesn't speak to. Yeah, but it's
speaks
like
to me.
Yeah, I'm not saying there can't be good prog music, but the whole reason why people got sick and tired of it, like in the 70s and stuff, is exactly because it was so like silly in that way, because it is like trying to do all these like big heady concepts and all this like it is kind of lost the plot, ironically,
I mean,
of what music
I disagree, but we have not
be,
finished
of what
talking
music
about the
of what
album yet.
music is supposed to be emotionally. Yeah.
You can have this argument with Michi for years, and I have. So yeah,
Yeah,
let's talk about
yeah.
the last.
Yeah, let's move on to Cold, the worst song on the album.
Yeah, I thought Cold sounds like boss music from a
Close.
video game.
Like I always want to call it Numb, but that's not the correct song.
It is. Cold is too theatrical. If I had to name its problem, in like quickly and succinctly, like it is trying to be very epic, and not achieving it 100%. I still like it fine, like everything on this album, but yeah, this is like after Siamese. This and Siamese Twin are like my least favorite ones. I enjoy that how it kind of like evokes a kind of like a, I don't know, like a an ice cave or something that you're like in with these like twinkly kind of accents it puts in, and obviously all the lyrics in the title are all pertaining to, you know, ice and cold and shit, but like it's, yeah, you feel like they're in this freezing cavern and kind of like stumbling around. It's kind of nice. I like it when songs give me sort of a visual cue. It's not really something like 100% solid. It's more abstract than I'm describing it. But yeah, it's too long. even though it is only 4 minutes, it feels longer. That's what I mean.
Yes, it feels way longer than it actually is.
Yeah. I'm always surprised that it is 4 minutes, because in my head it's like one of the 6-minute ones.
Yeah,
and it is too
it's
too
like
twinkly.
at night. It's very similar to that song.
It is like at night. Yeah.
I like the cello intro, but just the intro part. After that, it just becomes this painful droning sound, and this one actually hurts my ears. Yeah, like literally. Like, this is the song I don't want to listen to. There's no guitar and no bass, as far as I can tell, and I don't know what the other instrument is. If it's like a keyboard or
something.
yeah, something.
It'll be some keyboard. Yeah, I mean, the sense they're using are keyboards usually, but yeah, it's with some weird effects. Yeah, it's not a high point. Green, did you say everything you had to say about it?
I don't really have much to say about it. It's well, I said it sounds like boss music.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't really have strong. I liked it well enough. I mean, it seems pretty in line with most of the album. It's just another pretty good song.
I mean, I give them credit for using a cello.
Well, again, it's not using a cello; it's just a synthesizer.
But it sounds like
Jaws.
They're not bringing in. Well, again, speaking to, you know, like that would be a prog rock uncool, you know, pompy thing to do, would be bring in an actual orchestra for my concept album. You know, it's not really very indie. Using a synthesizer for a little accent is one thing. And then it leads into Pornography, which is one of the more interesting tracks.
Introduced by an ominous cello line played by Robert Smith himself.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was a synth. Played by him on a cello? Or played by him on...
It says played by him, by Robert Smith himself. I don't know how accurate this is.
I guess he just had a cello. Oh, wait, his sister was a cellist. Like a concert celloist. He wasn't just born his sisters. I just remembered that. Okay. Well, egg on my face. Yeah, and then Pornography is like kind of more interesting to think about than it is to listen to, at least for parts. I mean, I like it as an experimental song. I'm glad it's on the album. The intro is it is what is the word I'm looking for? Like, effectively unsettling. You know, backmasking and weird reversed vocals weren't really a common thing back here. You know, now they've become sort of parodic, using them for like a song to make it weird. Oh, I'm gonna put weird reversed vocals and stuff. You know, but you know, back then that was a pretty slick move. I kind of grows into this. It fools you into thinking it's going to be like an instrumental kind of.
Yeah, it almost is. Like
before-
there's very few lyrics.
Yeah, like it's exactly. But the lyrics that are there, ooh, there's some
I
good
think
lyrics in this one.
I think this actually does not work with me in terms of lyrics because now it does feel too artificial. Like it feels too cliche, the ending.
In an electric glare, the old man cracks with age. That's a pretty cool.
No, I meant just almost
just the very end. Well, yeah, I mean, it is.
on
It
the
is.
nose.
It is. Yeah. Well, I would agree. You just defended prog rock, and then you just. I mean, this is too on the nose.
Yeah, but you can have prog rock usually is not on the nose for me. Like, but anyway, let's not get into that again because we will never finish that argument.
True. I mean, I mean, when your idea is to trash the band you're in, I guess ending it with "Find a Cure" is.
Yeah, I mean, I totally
kind of
get why he did it.
Yeah, and again, he is like 23.
It's so unimaginable to think that we're so much older than these people.
Yeah, but okay. I dig this. I dig the lyrics, the way they kind of come in and are like, you thought you were gone. They kind of grabs you by the collar as you're about to exit. It's like you've gone into the.
Yeah, you've just been relaxing, and then there's actual
you've
lyrics.
just you at the beginning of the album you walked into this like this fucking weird spooky cemetery or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and you've gone through this harrowing night of fucking scary hallucinations, and then as you're leaving, it's like something grabs you from behind and pulls you back in for a second just for a last quiet whisper before it fades out. So I enjoy this song. It's like in the middle of my songs, even if I totally understand someone not liking it. I think it's an effective closer anyway. This
falls into the same category as like many of, or rather as those other songs on Cure albums, like the instrumental things, and so that I do not really consider to be songs. Like this is half a song. And I've said similar things about other songs.
I think it's kind of a demo, albums. And it could have been worked up a bit more.
Not even a demo, just like a sort of waste of time and space once again. I think the intro, the backwards intro is too long, and then eventually the instruments kick in, which are fine. Like they're interesting, but there's no change to them whatsoever. It's like super repetitive. Vocals are also, when they come in, they're like quiet and hard to make out. The guitar sounds are interesting, and as I said, the lyrics don't really work for me. Like this is my second least favorite song on the album. Like I don't even really consider it to be a song. That's why I have 100 Years above it, even though I don't like 100 Years.
Fair enough.
Green. Yeah, because that's at least a song.
I thought Pornography was one of the better songs.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was.
I'm glad to hear it.
It was interesting.
What do you like about it?
I just liked how complex it was, and like how much like work it obviously went into it.
There is a lot going on.
Like everything's very layered and complicated. It's almost like listening to like a mini album. It's like a little album into itself.
Yeah.
It's like you can just listen to it and it's like, all right, I listened to an album. I can go home now.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, also I kept thinking back then it was
cool to end with.
I kept thinking back then it was probably really hard to make songs that complicated too. You probably had to like cut up a bunch of little pieces of tape and stuff and like put them over each other.
Oh yeah. You really touched upon something that has been we should be mentioning all along. Obviously, is like so much of this stuff nowadays. It's easy to forget that like doing stuff electronically now. It's so easy to paste stuff like this. Yeah, making something sound like this in 1982. That's pretty fucking tricky. You're working with just tape and a lot of Yeah, definitely a lot of sweat went into this. It was hard to just achieve a sound that sounded different. Like people were using, there were so few like synthesizers and stuff like that on the market that people were all kind of using the same equipment. You really had to fuck around with the settings and the and recording techniques and do weird stuff to your microphones and stuff like that to get like odd sounds out of it. So yeah, that is definitely the very impressive album production.
And what you just said just reminds me of what's also being said about like Hollywood and filmmaking in the old days compared to now. That like limitation bred creativity, basically.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. They absolutely agree. Like, CGI is very impressive and they're hardworking, but yeah, practical effects led to a lot of really cool stuff. And this becomes a problem later, like on the album Blood Flowers, that's like digitally produced using like early stuff, like all these not GarageBand, obviously, well-known like audio software and stuff like that. Pro Tools.
Well, the early digital.
Pro Tools.
The early digital age was fucking horrendous for some stuff. Like I remember the Dance of the Deaf not Metallica, Iron Maiden album cover, which is like one of the worst things ever created.
Yeah, like
Wait, what?
Blood Flowers is
look it up. Dance of the Deaf Iron Maiden album cover, and marvel at the horrendousness of it.
Blood Flowers has like one of the worst.
Standing on a circle? No, just look it up on Google. Dance of the Deaf.
Oh, okay. There's one where he's just standing there, and then there's one where he's surrounded by a bunch of crazy CGI-looking guys.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
That's all. When we get to Blood Flowers, which is 2001, like that album could be so good, and it's still like it has some really good stuff in it, but it is like marred by having like these stupid digital production like stuff. It's so easy to layer stuff on top of tracks. People did it for no reason, so they would just put these extra like swooshing dumb like beep boopy things over all the tracks and be like, ooh, here's a weird sound we can put on top of that, even if it works or not. And also the album cover is also like embarrassing because Robert Smith did it himself.
I think it's fine. Like it's
embarrassing because it's like a terrible printer thing and it's got Times New Roman on it. You don't use Times New Roman on your fucking album cover, especially when you're the Cure and you have multiple iconic unique fonts, and then you just kick the team that normally does the album's covers and go, ooh, I'm gonna do like what looks like it was printed on my home printer, and then write Blood Flowers and do a little, and the Cure is like written like
okay, I thought you were talking about the Pornography, the album
no, God no. Pornography has a great album cover. I'm talking about Blood Flowers. Look at Blood Flowers, the album cover. Like that's what I'm saying happens later with digital stuff. Yeah, no, that's not a good album. No, Pornography is cool. I like Pornography, and it also Pornography's cover like shows you exactly what another thing which has been like a subtextual thing the whole time, which is they're way into drugs now. Like this is the period when they're doing hallucinogens. They're doing fucking mushroom tea and all this weird shit. Like this album is fucking trippy as fuck because they're all experimenting with all this stuff. They were like in the studio, they just like closed themselves in there, and like Robert Smith, there's like a thing on Wikipedia saying that they just got like food and drink delivered to them and they didn't throw anything out, so they just made like these huge pyramids and like little houses and stuff out of beer cans and shit. Like they were just like in the whole
hikikomori lifestyle.
High as fuck. Yeah, I don't know if you're trying to opium or whatever the fuck, just anything they can get their hands on, and just you look at that cover and you're like, oh yeah, this is trippy as fuck, which a lot of goth music was like. It was a lot about taking weird mind altering substances and coming up with crazy sounds.
As it should be. And well, I'm happy this album got made, and it was, and of course, as fate would have it, the uncommercial one made to end the band ends up being the one that cracks the top 10. This went to number 8 in the UK charts. They're there for like 9 weeks. And even Hanging Garden was like in the top 40, even though it's
You listen to other music that's coming out in 1982, and you tell me if the Hanging Garden sounds like anything on the fucking charts. You turn on the radio and Hanging Garden comes on, you're like, what the fuck?
I mean, it might have sounded like something like.
I'm not saying there was nothing like, but I just say like the when you think of like pop music stuff that's going to be in the top 100 charts, it's going to be like the Jackson 5.
Yeah,
you know, yeah, the Human League, like this is.
Wait, which year was this? 84 or 82?
82. A bit early for what I'm saying, but you know what I mean. Like 80s pop music is what you're thinking of. And after this, this is, they break up, quote unquote, but I mean, just a bit later, they're, back basically for a bit. In just a few months, Robert and Lowell, now the keyboardist, I suppose, are already doing these bunch of like weird, jokey, sarcastic singles, making fun of like disco and pop music in general, because they're just like, I'm done. I got he got all that stuff out of his system with this album. He exorcised all of his demons, and he was ready to have fun again with music, and boy did he have fun. And then the Cure are back for, the Top is like gonna be a solo album kind of, and then Head on the Door, basically everyone's back and they've got more guys. Yay, huzzah, we made it through the trilogy. The fucking goth monolith that is this cycle. Yay! Can't believe we've come so far.
The Lion Sleeps Tonight. Was 8 weeks in the top 10 in 1982. Interesting.
There you go.
Really?
Yeah, apparently.
I thought that was much older.
I know a fact about well, it could have been in the charts and been older. That happens sometimes.
Like in the UK. Like that's what.
Yeah, in the UK. I know that the guys who bought it off the original songwriter bought it for $1. Exactly.
$1.
And it made a lot more than that, but he didn't get any of that. Which is funny. Okay, well that was cool. I enjoyed talking about that.
Yeah, we won.
Again, we've saved the world for the fourth time.
Yep.
Again, we cured the world,
Yes.
We had to fight the sickness that is people not talking about the cure, and we did.
Yes.
Yay.
Come on, Eileen.
Yeah.
And Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah, exactly. Eye of the Tiger, right. Eye of the Tiger, Hanging Guard.
Yeah. I mean, those are sort of similar, at least.
I guess because he is the animal. He has the Eye of the Tiger.
Was that?
Yeah, I mean...
yeah.
What?
Was that song ever sincere? Like, was there ever a time someone played the Eye of the Tiger and they're just like, hell yeah, and it wasn't a funny thing?
Probably. Yeah. I think it only became funny with Rocky.
Out. Yeah. I sure know. Yeah, exactly what he said. When is Rocky? What year is Rocky? 86, something like that.
I don't know.
We find out.
I feel like it would be earlier 80s because they made so many of them.
Yeah, it's probably earlier than 86. I mean, if the song was in the charts in 82, then it's probably not that long.
Like, there's
after.
no fucking way that Rocky 4 was in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Shit. It's like a Cold War thing.
Wait, Rocky is from 1976. What the fuck?
Well, that's the first one, but the one that has Eye of the Tiger is Rocky 3, which is 82.
Okay,
so it's the same year as the song. Well, that makes sense.
I thought it was the first one, but I've never seen a single Rocky movie, so I didn't know.
Yeah, neither have I.
I don't blame you for being confused. Rocky 4 is 85, so you're right that it didn't come out in the 90s. Yeah. Well, there you go. Exactly. Thrashing like an eye of the tiger in the water.
The German title for Rocky 3 is even Eye of the Tiger, or rather as a subtitle. So I could have known that.
That sounds hilarious.
Rocky Dry,
well,
as they call it.
I'm going to end the stream.
Yay!
Do it, you coward.